General Hospital spoilers tease that on a quiet afternoon, Maxie discovers an envelope placed just outside her window, with no postal markings, no message, just a silent object carrying an unnamed sense of suspense. The handwriting on it makes her pause, a familiar stroke that she can't mistake, the handwriting of Liesl. The letter inside is hastily written, somewhat scribbled, but what matters isn't the form, but the content. Liesl declares that she has found evidence showing Nathan and Britt are still alive. Maxie can barely breathe as she reads each line. This isn't just a simple notification, it's a cry for help, a signal from afar that a miracle might be coming. Liesl mentions a series of encoded data obtained from one of Helena Cassidy's former secret facilities, which includes DNA samples matching Nathan and Britt. She asserts that her children are not dead as everyone has believed for so long, but instead are being held in a deep vegetative state, protected by an unofficial medical and security system. Liesl believes it's all part of a conspiracy, that their deaths were just a part of a larger plan left by Helena. The letter doesn't clarify where Liesl is, but from the way it's written, Maxie understands that she has disappeared to carry out a dangerous mission, a solitary journey to retrieve her children from the hands of those in power in the shadows. Liesl no longer has time to wait. She's up against a closed system, underground networks that once served the experiments and conspiracies of the Cassidy family, forces that will never let anyone go easily if they know too much. Liesl's contact with Maxie proves that she needs someone trustworthy, someone strong enough not to back down if things spiral out of control. Maxie, after regaining her composure, realizes she can't keep this secret to herself. She starts reviewing everything related to Nathan and Britt's deaths. She digs up records, reports, photos, and even old conversations she never thought would hold any value. Every clue, every small detail now becomes precious because if there's even a 1% chance that her loved ones are still alive, she has to fight with everything she has. Inside, a long-buried anger begins to rise in Maxie. She remembers the painful days of accepting that Nathan was never coming back, the broken dreams of a complete family, and the look on James' face every time he asked about his father. Now, if what Liesl says is true, all those years of loss might have been a cruel lie. Her belief turns into determination, and the pain of the past becomes her motivation. James, though still young, senses the change in his mother. Maxie doesn't hide it from him, but she also doesn't want the fragile hope to become a burden. Inside her, the memory of Nathan comes alive as though he never left, and the belief that her son could once again be embraced by his father makes it impossible for her to turn away. Liesl, somewhere out there, is stepping deeper into the dangerous world of those who manipulate life and death. She is no longer a doctor torn between medical ethics and maternal love. Now, she is a mother willing to break every rule to reclaim what she has never let go. The data from Helena's lab is not just evidence, it's a map leading to a journey no one dares to take. Liesl isn't seeking forgiveness, she's seeking justice, on her terms. The story is far from over, but one thing is clear, if Nathan and Britt are alive, Port Charles will never be the same. The memories once thought closed will be torn apart, and the buried secrets will have to be exposed. Liesl is racing against time. Maxie is preparing to face the truth. And James, though unaware of everything, is about to enter the most important chapter of his family's story, a chapter where hope might be the only thing that keeps them alive. James is truly joyful, innocent, and full of hope when he hears his mother say that his father might still be alive. In his eyes is absolute belief, a pure joy that Maxie hasn't seen in many years. But deep inside Maxie, behind the smile for her son, the chaos is rising. Liesl's letter has shaken her world, opening the door to unimaginable things, making her realize that she's facing an unprecedented storm. Maxie has no choice but to act. She knows that if the information Liesl provided is true, she can't continue alone. She needs someone trustworthy, strong enough, and cold enough to confront a force that can manipulate both life and death. Maxie thinks of Jason. In this world full of turmoil and danger, no one can help her better than Jason Morgan. He has stood between right and wrong, between intelligence, the mafia, and justice. And he is the only one who can keep his cool when things spiral beyond imagination. Maxie contacts Jason silently, providing him with a copy of the data and the entire letter from Liesl. When Jason reviews the information, his expression grows grim. Within the codes, encryptions, and medical data, Jason realizes something terrifying. If what Liesl discovered is true, then Nathan and Britt, both of whom were declared dead, are being held in a facility controlled by the WSB. That revelation takes things beyond a typical search. The WSB is not just an intelligence organization, it's a symbol of absolute power in the international underworld. They've carried out experiments, covered up operations, and have the capability to make a person disappear without a trace. If the WSB is holding Nathan and Britt, it means they were never really allowed to live freely. Their lives are being controlled like an experiment, a political secret, or even a weapon. Jason knows that this can't be solved with normal law enforcement. This is the domain of deadly games, where every piece of evidence can be erased, every word can be denied, and anyone involved may not return. With this discovery, Jason sees not just a rescue mission, but a war on the horizon, an event that could erupt and shake Port Charles to its core. And what makes everything even more frightening is the madness lurking within the organization once thought to protect the world. If the WSB is willing to hold Nathan and Britt, innocent American citizens, it means they have long since crossed moral boundaries. They are no longer protectors. They are the captors, hiding the truth at the cost of innocent lives. Jason quietly gathers information, plans an infiltration. Maxie doesn't know what she's stepping into, but she understands one thing: if Nathan is alive, she won't stop. And if Britt is out there, Liesl will fight to the last breath to bring her daughter back. Port Charles has never faced anything like this. A conspiracy of prolonged captivity. A secret hidden by a global power. A mother frantically searching for her child. A father buried in memories, waiting to be freed. And a child carrying the purest hope, the hope that her family will be whole again. All of this is leading to an explosive event, a chain of chaos that could disrupt all forces and expose truths never revealed. In the eye of the storm, Maxie, Jason, and Liesl will not back down. And in the shadows, the WSB is beginning to sense that something is approaching, a wave of rebellion driven not by power, but by a love that cannot be denied. Jason is stepping into a new, dangerous chapter of his life, one that will not only test his loyalty and strength but also be a pivotal point for the fate of those he loves. While Maxie sends a distress call about the mysterious existence of Nathan and Britt, Jason quietly monitors another emerging threat, the suspicious disappearance of Jocelyn. The shady signs around the WSB's involvement, along with the data Maxie provided, lead Jason to realize that seemingly separate events are actually interconnected in a dark web that has never been revealed. Jocelyn had been secretly recruited by the WSB under a covert training program she didn't fully understand. Now, she has disappeared without a trace. Jason is well aware of how the WSB operates, and more aware of what they're willing to do to keep secrets. He understands that in order to save Jocelyn, he must dive deeper into the system, and finding Britt is not just about helping Liesl, it could be the key to finding where Joss is being held. During his search, Jason uncovers a highly guarded underground medical facility in an unrecognized country, a facility that was once Helena Cassidy's research station but is now under WSB control. All signs point to this place being where Britt is being kept. No one knows how she was taken, why her death was staged, or why she was chosen as the subject of study. But Jason knows that if there's even a 1% chance she's still alive, he has to bring her back. Tension mounts as Jason decides to act alone. He can't let anyone else get involved, especially Carly or Sunny. This isn't just about Port Charles anymore, this is about the past, about deadly secrets buried under the guise of national security. When Jason infiltrates the facility, he faces not only armed guards and a top-level security system but also a brutal truth. Britt is alive, but she is no longer herself. She's being kept alive by medical equipment, under 24/7 surveillance, and categorized as available for special biological purposes. This revelation stuns Jason. She hasn't just been detained, she's part of an experimental program that's been ongoing since Helena's time. Taking her out isn't just about saving her, it's about stealing a secret that the WSB has been trying to cover up for years. When Jason returns Britt to Port Charles, everything changes. She carries with her fragmented memories, images of a cold, soulless place where she was no longer considered human. Her return immediately shakes the entire hospital, especially among the doctors who once declared her dead. Liesl nearly collapses when she sees her daughter, a miracle no one believed would come true. But in that happiness, a ripple effect begins to spread across Port Charles. Jason's return of Britt has inadvertently triggered a chain reaction. The WSB immediately takes action to cover up the lead, reopening old files, and beginning to purge anyone connected to Helena's program. Jocelyn is now confirmed to have been a potential subject of the program, making Carly and Sunny furious and uneasy. Jason's solo actions are now seen as a provocation, and Port Charles is being pushed into a dangerous situation like never before. A major incident occurs when the data Jason retrieved from the facility is leaked, revealing the names of many people who had been under surveillance, including powerful figures in Port Charles. If these secrets come to light, it could ruin not only personal reputations but also fracture the entire system of connections between families, hospitals, and even authorities. Jason is no longer just a silent hero, he is becoming the center of a new war, where loyalty, truth, and things never spoken of for decades are coming to the surface. The story of Britt's return is no longer just a miracle of fate. It's the spark for a series of crazy, explosive events, pushing Port Charles into its darkest time since the Cassidy name first appeared on the power map. Maxie's small house now feels flooded with light. After years of living in the shadow of loss, she can finally see Nathan, flesh and blood, no longer a picture in a frame or a dream fading with the morning. James runs to hug his father, his eyes shining with innocence and happiness, as if there had never been any distance between them. Maxie, standing behind, watches this seemingly unreal scene, and her heart swells with an indescribable feeling, a strange mix of happiness, astonishment, and fear. Nathan has returned. Not just a simple return, but proof that what she thought was lost forever, still exists, still beats with the same love that has never cooled. His return makes Maxie's heart explode with 1,000 unasked questions. Where has he been? Who held him? And most importantly, why is he alive when the world thought he was dead? In the midst of this emotional upheaval, another shock hits Maxie. Spinelli is leaving Port Charles. Her longtime friend, companion, the one who was by her side when Nathan died, when James was born, when she collapsed and then stood up again, is now saying goodbye. Spinelli's departure feels like an abrupt hole opening in a moment that should be complete. He's not just a friend, he's the tether between reality and reason for her, something Maxie feels she is losing as everything around her changes too quickly. With Nathan by her side, the feelings that seem to have lain dormant within Maxie begin to awaken strongly. They share memories, recalling moments that time had buried, and slowly, what once was the past starts to crowd into the present. Maxie feels herself being pulled into a whirlwind, where every old choice is coming back to be redefined. Every glance, every touch from Nathan stirs up a love she never forgot, but also makes her realize that time can't be erased with just a hug. Nathan may have come back, but Maxie has lived through loss, changes, and mistakes. What was once a miracle quickly becomes the center of a new wave of chaos in the world of General Hospital. Nathan's return is no longer a standalone twist, it is the first door opening for a quiet rebirth that's been forming behind the scenes. Along with Britt being rescued by Jason, now it's Nathan crossing the boundary between life and death. This makes many in Port Charles begin to question, who else? How many people thought to be lost, are actually still alive, held captive, or protected from the real world? Liesl, with tear-filled eyes, looks at Nathan as though seeing a part of her own soul returned. Anna quietly watches every movement, sensing something unusual behind this miracle. Jason continues to dig deeper into the WSB and Cassidy data, beginning to see signs of an underground network, a place where death is just part of a complex cover-up, where resurrection isn't a coincidence but a strategy. And in the background, GH, as a creative product, is entering an irreversible era. Resurrecting legendary characters, who were once emotional landmarks for the audience, can be seen as an act of tribute, but it's also a risky move. On one hand, it brings emotions, hope, and cheers from an audience tired of loss. On the other, it threatens to destroy the entire emotional structure built over years, when death no longer holds permanent meaning, when tragedy can be rewritten, and when any character can come back, regardless of logic. Maxie isn't the only one being tested by complicated emotions. So is poor Charles. Nathan's return isn't just the return of a husband, a father, but the beginning of a larger series of troubles, hidden truths, inhumane experiments, and dark forces thought to be eradicated, are now rising stronger than ever. In Maxie's heart, happiness and doubt are at war. She loves Nathan, but she also understands that love can't simply go back to the starting point. With Spinelli leaving, with the past coming back, and the future threatened, Maxie knows she must choose once again, not only for herself, but for James, for those she loves, and for the truth she's about to face. And at that moment, General Hospital is changing. Not just a place holding memories, but a battleground between memories and truth, between rebirth and darkness, between lost love and second chances. A new wave is forming, and Maxie and Nathan are just the first to step into the storm.